That's good. All right. Everybody is muted, so those speakers or people sharing announcements, make sure you unmute to engage with us today. I really only have two announcements. Samara will move you to the front then. The first announcement is that for those who supported Meals with a Mission, thank you. We cranked out about 240 meals. So I know Greg at TJ's was extremely happy with that. And I know that the group that volunteered, so thank you to Terry Snoddy, to Greg Long, to Robin LaRue Beasley, to Samara Zimmerly, to Courtney Yoder, to Matt Yost, to Dallas Robinson, and Daryl Lee. Thank you for volunteering your time and for making that a seamless process. Hopefully that's something that, that format that we don't have to do that next year, but really happy and proud of us the way we were able to come together and at least have that event. So, so thanks a lot for those who volunteered, and thank you to all the Rotarians who purchased meals. We really obviously didn't make a big push to sell meals out in the public. So with that number, it's not a bad little fundraiser. Samara has something that I think is worthwhile to share with the group today. It is from the chamber, but something that is timely with it being the holidays and around Christmas. Samara?
Hello. So we all know that usually during the holidays, we're all out doing fun things and gathering. So this year the chamber came up with something to help spread holiday cheer in the community. So it's a safe way to be able to enjoy some holiday cheer. It is called the Let It Glow program. So we are having a community contest. We have 40 houses that signed up to be a part of it. So you can drive around and pick out which one is your favorite, and you can vote. You text in a vote to vote for the People's Choice Award. So we'd love to have your input. All of the details, addresses, and interactive map you can find on our website, worcesterchamber.com.
Excellent. So yes, so just people are looking for things to do that is safe in the time of COVID. So if you, your spouse, your family, your kids, if you'd like to go around and see the local displays, there's 40 houses, and Samara, they're all in the 44691 area code. So so have at it. Go to worcesterchamber.com and check that out. So Kimberly, did you want to cover too kind of the idea of how in the future the idea of the breakout rooms?
I would be happy to if you'd like.
Yeah.
So we were approached with the idea of trying to mimic or mirror the fellowship that we have when we meet in person prior to the meeting starting, as we're sitting at separate tables and sharing stories and just catching up from week to week. And Zoom allows for that capability through the use of breakout rooms. And so we have a few logistics to work out just yet, but we hope to start in January with starting these Zoom meetings a little bit earlier so that we open the meeting room up early enough that those of you who want to join, say at 11:45, can sign in, and we will be able to divvy people up into breakout rooms, which means that you could be in a Zoom meeting with just 3, 4, 5, 6 other Rotarians for those first 15 minutes or so, just for networking and fellowship, catching up. And then at the appointed hour, we're able to just close the breakout rooms and everybody comes back into this full meeting together. So more details to come, but thank you, Frank, for sending that inquiry or that suggestion our way.
So thank you, Past President Kimberly. And then, so that'll be in January. So to kind of go over that, to queue up that we will not have a meeting on next Monday, the 21st, and we will not have a meeting on the 28th. We do have a meeting scheduled for January 4th. And Tom, while it's on there, if you just want to kind of cover what January 4th is, since you're sitting right there, bud.
Yeah, sure. We're going to have a really cool speaker. I think you're going to like it. Nicole Norris. She's the owner of a Whipped coffee bar. It's right downtown. If you haven't been there, it's a pretty neat location. You'll love it. And if you're a coffee lover, then you'll really enjoy it. But we're going to have her speak. She's got a great story, just as far as how she got started and where she's at now and where she wants to continue. So I think it'll be a nice uplifting program as we start the year off.
Excellent. So yes, we will have, that will be coming to you on January 4th. Thank you, Tom, for that. And again, those breakout rooms at the beginning of the meeting. So we'll try to make sure that we have everybody logged in at 10 minutes before the hour of 12 so that we can have some interaction. Past President Bob Gorman, do you want to cover your piece?
Thank you, President Justin. As part of the committee that's putting together various activities and events for the Wooster Rotary Club's centennial, I'm working on an insert or a tab for the Daily Record that will be in February sometime. So there's a lot of work that goes into that, and there's cost associated with that to put that in the Daily Record. So we are asking Rotarians who are in a position to do this, maybe to provide kind of a business card or a business card type of ad. We're looking to charge $100 for them. It has some notice in this publication, which I think will be a keeper. I really do. And we're trying to get as many of them as we can to underwrite the cost of the tab. Not sure what the Daily Record circulation is right now, but for years it's been 25,000 or so. So there's a lot of exposure there. And as we go through, I've looked through a lot of the historical records of the club because we're really trying to get a grasp going all the way back. There's some really neat stuff there. But we could use, if any of you have some photos we got plenty of auction photos, got a ton of photos in our archives from the auction, but there's some other projects that we seem to be a little short on photos on, particularly got a lot of good information on the Alvian Wii tournament, but if anybody has a photo or two that they'd like to share, send me an email and I can arrange to get that from you. Or send Justin or Phil an email. And if anybody has some photos from any past presidents from an international convention that they've attended, that would also be nice to have one or two photos there in there. And we don't really have, I haven't seen anything from the Christmas party that we do every year. So if anybody's got a photo from that they'd like to share, we would appreciate that. So it looks as good a representation as possible from 100 years of Rotary. So looking forward to that tabloid and to kind of supplement the full page ads that have been placed. I think 3 so far and a couple more coming up. So your help both from a sponsorship, and we'll have some follow up on the sponsorship and from a photo standpoint would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. And then Phil, if you wanted to kind of talk about the 100th and a couple of things we have downtown.
I just would like to piggyback on what Bob just said. I could use some photos also. We've had 3 of those full page ads in the Daily Record, full page articles. The first one was a freebie. The second one was paid for by some individual Rotarians from the club. This most recent one that Peggy wrote, Peggy and Doug did on the Kenya project was paid for by Critchfield, sponsored by Critchfield. And we have one coming up in January that's going to be sponsored by Wooster Brush. So we're pretty much paying for them as we go. So what Bob is asking is these business card ads to pay for that insert. So if we're lucky, none of these spreads in the Daily Record will cost the club any money. We do have a 100th anniversary committee in place. We've been trying to do some things. COVID has definitely been a real issue for us. We had it all planned to have a banquet in February, but that's going to get postponed until probably sometime in the summer. If you have a chance and you are out and about, the Ray Licey has put up a very nice display for our club in the windows of the old Wooster Book Company, kind of close to the corner of Walnut and Liberty Street. It's now part of the temporarily part of Frentique. So I could use some photos of any of you have any photos related to youth exchange or any other youth activities especially with you in it or with some Rotarians in it. I could really use some photos for the January issue January article in the Daily Record. So please email me anything you have with youth exchange kits from the past. That's about all I got, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. We appreciate that. I believe that's all of the announcements that we have today. Is there any announcements that we'd like to share amongst the membership here as we assemble? Anybody have anything? I do want to share, though, that our newest member, and he's on here, but he's in the black here, is Reed Delaney. So Reed Delaney, I think he's a commercial lender with CSB, Commercial Savings Bank, in downtown. And if you know the last name Delaney, you might know his mother, Judy, who has ran Goodwill for a number of years. So Reed, there he is right in the corner, that good looking guy down in the corner.
Yeah, it popped up.
There he is. Welcome aboard, man. And you want to say anything to the new, as being the newest member? I like to put you right on the spot, Reed.
I appreciate you guys kind of approving me and just giving me an opportunity to help this organization and just be a bigger role in the community to help out in any way I can. So I really appreciate it for welcoming me on board.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on board, Reed. It'll be great when we're able to meet in person so you can see the full scope of Rotary, and appreciate your interest, and thanks for being on today, bud. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Sarah Baker, who is going to queue up our speaker today. Sarah?
All right. Hi, everybody. Today we have Mr. Reinhard Klett with us. Reinhard is a certified high performance coach and author of a best-selling Amazon book titled Letting Go Saved My Life. Reinhard has a passion for seeing his clients transform their lives by becoming more successful in their work and business, as well as in their personal relationships. The increased fulfillment that his clients receive from his coaching dramatically increases the contribution that they're able to make to their communities and to the world. His book, Letting Go Saved My Life, is based on a personal life and death experience and challenges readers to let go of whatever slows them down or distracts them from becoming their best self. He encourages clients to apply 5 life-changing habits that are based on research and strongly correlated with high performance as well as fulfillment in life. He believes that higher profitability is achieved by developing outstanding corporate cultures and fully engaged employees coached through high performance group coaching. He's a mechanical engineer by trade and has traveled the world. He's lived and worked in Germany, South Africa, and the United States. In a former career, he managed projects with customers and suppliers in the automotive industry on all 5 continents. That provides him with a broad perspective, and working with many different corporate cultures has helped him to develop a keen sense on how those cultures impact productivity, employee health and satisfaction, as well as the bottom line. I've had a number of conversations with Reinhard over the last couple years, and his passion for coaching his clients is always obvious. He's an amazing listener, and he cares. He truly cares about improving the lives of his clients and through them improving the world. He lives here in Worcester with his wife, Emily, and their 2 sons, David and Daniel. And since transitioning from the corporate world, he's dedicated his life to writing and coaching people to live up to their full potential. He enjoys reading to support his professional, personal, and spiritual growth, and loves being outdoors, whether hiking, running, playing tennis, doing yard work, or playing the harmonica by the campfire. So without further ado, Mr. Reinhard Klett.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Really appreciate that introduction. I think I can wrap it up very quickly. Then that's been really good. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to the Rotary Club. That means a lot to me because I see the Rotary Club as a group of people who are really wanting to make a contribution in their community and in the world in general. They want to have a fulfilled life, not just a busy life. And so that really resonates with me. You know, when I was at my dad's funeral, there were several eulogies because my dad was very heavily involved in volunteer work, just like most of you are. And I had no idea how much of an impact he had made to so many people. And after the funeral, I told my sister, well, I don't know that I have enough life left to make the kind of impact that my dad had made. So I decided I need to really look for ways in how I can help and serve the community. And so here, hopefully this is an opportunity to provide some value to all of you who've been through very tough times this last year. I don't know whether some of you had it directly, but I just had COVID a few weeks ago. I thankfully got over it rather quickly, my wife as well. And we're through it, so to speak. But I know everybody is challenged with it in a very different way. And we all sort of don't mind saying goodbye to 2020, I think, in some way. So we probably all want to let go of that year. And with that, I want to see what I can show a few slides here and see what I can provide, where I can provide value to you. How do I do that? Do I just share my screen? Would that work?
Yeah, down below, hit share screen. It should be in the middle since you're a co-host. Let's see.
Okay. I'll do that. Okay, basic share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not seeing it yet. There we go. And it's your family. It's your beautiful family there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to introduce my wife, family, and my two boys, David, who's working as a engineer, as a computer engineer at Smuckers, and Daniel, who's studying pre-med biology. Do you see the next slide as well, or is that just something I see?
It's just you as the presenter. I'm only seeing the one slide.
Okay, great, awesome. So as you heard Sarah mention, the book that I wrote that is based on a life and death experience. Basically, the way I approach this, when we apply high performance habits, which I will go into a little bit later on, then we are stepping with our foot on the gas. We accelerate, we improve things in our lives. But if we don't let go of things that are holding us back, that's sort of like keeping the foot on the brake. So the first thing I would like to talk about is how we can take the foot off the brake. And the idea about this book that I wrote came from a life and death experience. And as you can imagine where that happened, that was actually in the cockpit of a plane. I was on my third solo flight as a student pilot 30 years ago over Simi Valley, practicing approach landing stall recovery. And what happened is I did not have my rudder coordinated properly. And instead of getting into a regular stall, from which I knew how to recover because that's part of our training, I got into what they call a graveyard spiral. And I was trying everything with the controls that I could think of, but nothing worked. I was going down very, very rapidly. The earth was turning in front of me like a disc. The altimeter showed a very, very rapid descent, and I thought for sure those are the last few seconds of my life. And after dropping 1,000 feet out of the sky, not knowing what to do, I just took my hands off that wheel that you see there and my feet off the pedals, and basically taking my hands in, letting go of all the controls. And I said, God, take this plane. And instantly I came out of that downward spiral, recovered at about 1,500 feet above the ground. Had I held on to the controls any longer, I would have run myself right into the ground. Now, as you can imagine, this has taught me a lot of lessons, but as I was sharing this story over the years with people, they came up with a lot of ideas and thoughts about things that they need to let go of in their lives. And so I came to think about it, and I thought, maybe this is a story that a lot of people could benefit from. And I was thinking about writing a book for a long time, but eventually this year, actually in June, I published the book. And so the question to you is then, and this is a question that I've asked a lot of people in seminars, is there something in your life that you may need to let go of, something that's holding you back? A lot of people mention that it's hard for them sometimes to forgive certain people. A lot of people have a lot of ego, whether it's expressed in pride or whether it's expressed in a negative self-image or limiting beliefs about themselves. It's just holding them back. Sometimes people waste a lot of energy and time to impress other people rather than do what is right and good and what really is congruent with their values. A lot of people are being held back by past guilt and shame, and they just can't forgive themselves. And it's just like with grudges and bitterness. You know, if we hold grudges and we don't forgive others, whom does it hurt? Sometimes people don't know why they can't let go. And they forget that, you know, not forgiving is like taking a poison pill, hoping it will hurt the other person. So there may be a lot of things in your life that are holding you back in some ways. And the book covers basically all those topics. The introductory chapter covers the story in a little bit more detail than what I told you. And then there are 16 chapters which cover different areas in life. And you will have coaching style questions at the end of each chapter, which basically ask you to, or help you to dig a little bit deeper. And then there's room to journal. So that's the first thing that I encourage clients to do, is letting go of things that are holding them back. And then we get into the 5 high performance habits, as they've been identified through research as being very strongly correlated to high performance. And the first one is clarity. And the question is not only about, you know, what are your goals for 2021, for example, and what do you want to do, what do you want to accomplish, but primarily, who do you want to become? And that is something that is very independent in a way from what happens in the world that is beyond our control. You know, there were so many things that you probably had planned and hoped to accomplish in 2021, and things just didn't work out the way that you had hoped or planned for. And because a lot of them, again, were beyond your control. But who you want to become as a person, that is something that in a way is much more within your control. So I want to challenge you all to maybe just close your eyes for a minute and think about 3 words that you would like to live into. 3 words that would define your best self. 3 words that you would like to have written on your tombstone. And now write down those 3 words. Write them down and think about them, how you can implement those or live into those in your daily life. And then put those on your alarm. Alarm yourself every day. Okay, for example, if your goal is to want to become a very patient person, if that's one of your words, patience, and you get into situations throughout the day where you become a little impatient, then when you get that trigger, that reminder that you set up on your alarm, you can say, okay, refocus, you know, think about your purpose, think about who you want to become. And that will help you to live more into those. And when you think about your purpose, also that would be the next step, the overall thing that you would like to accomplish in life, the mission that you have for yourself in life, the things that are really important to you based on whether you've experienced something in the past, based on a very positive experience you may have had, or some pain that you have experienced. It may define your mission or your purpose in life. And then, so ask yourself, what is that purpose? But when you give yourself the answer, well, why is that purpose? Say, because of A. But then dig deeper, 7 levels deep. Ask yourself, why do I, and then the answer. And the purpose for this is, in our minds, often we say, yeah, it's clear for me what I want to accomplish in life, or what my purpose is, or what my mission is. But it may be just in our head, and we're not connected to it on a deep emotional level, on a deep heart level. It hasn't really sunk in very deeply. And unless we are deeply connected with our purpose, with our mission on a heart level, we often are not as strongly motivated to really push through things that we may need to push through, or to be motivated to accomplish the things and to focus on those things throughout the day. So I want to challenge you to define that purpose, find out exactly why you have that purpose, connect with it, and just spend a couple of minutes every morning. This is my purpose. This is my mission for the day. And that will help you a lot in really moving forward in your life. The next one is energy. And as you can imagine, as you all are aware, is when your energy level is high, your physical and your mental and emotional energy is high, you get just so much more accomplished. That means you can fulfill your purpose a lot more. You can live into it, and you can make a much bigger contribution. And that's really what I think it's all about. And you as Rotarians certainly, I think, appreciate that it's being fulfilled and really making that kind of contribution that makes you fulfilled. So to raise your level of physical energy, I just want to ask you, write down 3 things that you should stop eating and drinking, at least not on a regular basis, that would help your physical energy, that would improve your health. Just write down 3 things and commit to those. And then what 3 items could you add to your diet that would really help your physical energy throughout the year? Just think of those and write those down. Just taking little steps like that can make big difference. And then always think about it this way: when I raise my level of energy, I can make a better contribution to the world. And then think about some very simple exercise routines that you could add to your schedule, something that works for you and that fits for you. Now, physical energy is very important, but also, as you know, mental energy. And that has affected a lot of people these days. You know what I hear about hospitals, the one areas in the hospitals that are completely full or overflowing actually are the psychiatric wards. And that's a very sad situation. Unfortunately, the COVID has contributed to that quite a bit. So I want to talk about a little bit about mental health as well. And I'm going to show you a few slides for us to sort of have a little bit of picture where our feelings come from when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel depressed or anxious or anything like that. Basically, our feelings are sort of like the canary in the gold mine. In a coal mine, I mean, the canary in the coal mine. They give us an indication of what's going on here at the bottom, you can see, with what we believe. Because depending on what we believe, we ask ourselves certain questions, and I'll show you some examples of that, which generate some thoughts, and our thoughts is what generates our feelings, determines our feelings, and our feelings often determine then our actions, what we do. Our actions lead to results, and then they reaffirm the beliefs. In our next slide, we'll see here that, for example, if we have negative feelings, if we're anxious, depressed, or overwhelmed, then those often come from certain false beliefs that we have. And the false beliefs are leading to bad questions, negative thoughts, create the negative feelings. We don't do a lot of good actions, and then we get poor results. As an example, or the other thing is, on the other hand, if we have positive feelings, they usually stem from true beliefs, which lead to good questions, to positive thoughts, and then result in our good feelings, and which lead us to good actions and good results. And they usually reinforce our true beliefs. So just as some examples, for example, a lot of people in these economic uncertain times also have money worries. I know that some businesses have grown even more during COVID, but a lot of them were hurt. So we have the worry, oh, I may not have enough money, or there may not be enough. Well, we are still here. We are all here. And most people, even most successful people who've gone through bankruptcies and everything, they're still here. So, but when they ask themselves the question and wonder, oh, there may not be enough, then they ask, what if I lose it all? Am I going to go bankrupt? Am I going to lose my house? Is my wife going to divorce me? And so this creates all these anxieties and worries about money. As a result, we withhold, we are not generous, and we produce nothing. And then, of course, that reinforces our beliefs that maybe we will not have enough. On the other hand, if we think about if we want to have peace of mind and confidence that we will always have enough, that starts with the belief, yes, I will always have enough. Things may be tight and there may be, a lot of there may be a bumpy road ahead of us, but in a way, I will always have enough. Now, that generates a different kind of question. What is within my power to do? And then when I ask myself, what is in my power to do? Well, I can serve, I can contribute. And then that generates a lot of ideas and thoughts on how I can actually also make money. But also what it does, then it affects our feelings. It gives us peace of mind. It gives us confidence. And then we end up doing our part and we just end up doing the best we can. And then blessings come with it. Another example of when we have to deal with anxiety and depression that often comes from negative beliefs, sort of doubts. We say, oh, vanity of vanities, all is vanity, that type of thinking. What's it all for? What's the use of it? And those kinds of that kind of thinking then leads to the thought, what is wrong? Or we ask the question about what is wrong and what I don't have, we focus on what we don't have. And then we see all the things that are wrong in the world, the things we don't have, all the politicians that are screwing things up for me or whatever. And then that generates the anxiety and leads to depression. We end up doing not much, crawl under a blanket and get even more depressed. But if we address our beliefs here, we can turn things around. If we start with a belief of gratitude or an attitude of gratitude, that generates a very different question. What can I be grateful for? And if we write down a long list of things that we could be grateful for, even if a lot of things go wrong, but if we write down a long list of things that could be grateful for, and even if it has to be 25 words before we experience a change in our heart or in our feelings, let's do that. Write down just 25 things. If that's what it takes in the morning, just do that and focus on what we do have and not what we don't have. Somebody has said once, the height of our joy is determined by the depth of our gratitude. So our joy, our feelings of joy, they can really be generated with the right kind of thoughts. And when we are joyful, we tend to serve and create with enthusiasm. And then we can be a light to others and encouragement to others as well. Another example where we may have been stressed out, especially this year, we feel a lot of overwhelm and stress. Well, what belief is that based on? A lot of people here, I'm sure in Rotary Club, a lot of entrepreneur business people, people who are executives who are very successful in life, they often feel like I have to do it all. And if I don't do it, it'll get done. And we get overwhelmed because we feel like there's not enough time and we feel like it's all up to me. And then the question is, what if it doesn't get done? And then, well, then we generate all kinds of thoughts. What will happen if it doesn't get done? I will lose out. Projects don't get finished. We're going to lose a lot of money or whatever. And then that leads to overwhelm and stress. And when we are overwhelmed and stressed, we do take poor action. We take action, but we tend to be hurried and we tend to be impatient and we may make shortcuts or be upset with people and our relationships get hurt. And then we end up being exhausted and then we don't get really as much accomplished. And actually it slows us down. And then that reinforces our belief that, there's not enough time, I won't get things done. Now, if we take a different approach, if we believe I will always have enough time, resources, and support, if that's our belief, that I will always have what it takes to get done what I meant to get done. Whatever your beliefs are, if you think whatever God wants you to do today, you will get it done. And what does not get done, it will be okay. It will get done tomorrow. And that totally changes the questions we ask. We ask ourselves then, okay, well, if I get done what needs to get done, what matters most? What should I focus on today? Then we ask that question. Then as a result, we end up focusing on priorities. It gives us a calm sense of energy, and we work well and we work patiently on whatever project we are working on. And then good work gets done. Nobody gets hurt in the process. And that again reinforces our beliefs that we will get done what needs to get done. Now, sometimes we may have all the right attitudes and things still don't go that well. You may have experienced that as well, and especially this year as well. So we ask ourselves the question then, if things don't go so well, because it all depends on how we interpret the results that we may not be happy with. And if we ask ourselves, which blessing of failure or setback does apply to this situation? Am I experiencing this because I need to learn something? Or am I experiencing this as a redirection towards something better? I'm moving in one direction, but it's not working out so well. Maybe it's a redirection towards something better. And that's something that I've experienced in my career as well. Or it's a correction where we just have done the wrong things and we need to really correct something even about ourselves, where we may have to grow as a person, where we may have to maybe become more patient. Maybe we have to express more love towards our loved ones. Whatever it is, it may be a correction, or it's a setup for something else. You know, I can remember how devastated I was when that girlfriend in Italy left me, you know, and I thought, I was devastated. It was horrible. But you know what? In hindsight, I'm so glad. I'm so glad, because it was a setup for getting married to the one that I'm married to now, and who is a much, much, much better fit. So sometimes it's just a setup. So ask yourself, whenever you experience a setback or you feel like it's been a failure, there may be a blessing behind, a blessing in disguise. And it may be one of those four. Now, the third high performance habit that's been strongly correlated to high performance is courage. Those people have a lot of courage. And one of the questions I have for you, is there an issue in your life that you have been avoiding? You may just not have had the courage to push through. And this may also demonstrate to you how all these different habits are very connected to each other. If we raise our level in one area, it raises everything else. For example, if we are very clear, clarity was our first one. If we are very clear on what we want to do, don't we feel more courageous on pursuing that? But if we have doubts about it, we don't have the same level of courage. The same thing, if our energy level is high, we are much more courageously entering a situation, and we can tend to be much more bold when our energy level is high. So it all affects things. But again, ask yourself, is there something you've been avoiding, or is there somebody in your life that you may need to have a difficult conversation with? A conversation that you've been putting off for too long. And maybe it's time to muster the courage to have that conversation. And also, when it comes to courage, many of you are leaders in the community, in your business. Do you encourage your folks, the people that report to you, to be courageous? And the reason why I mention that, and it's very interesting, you know, there's a lot of malpractice still happening in the medical field, in the medical industry. And they have done studies where they have shown 70% of medical malpractice could have been avoided if the nurses had the courage to speak up to the doctor. 70%. But the nurses were too nervous to be yelled at by their boss. What do you know? You're just a nurse, or whatever, you know. So we have to ask ourselves, do the people in our family or our employees, people we work with, do they have the courage to ask questions or to point things out? Or are they holding back because we are not open enough? So ask yourself, are you expressing the courage you need to express to move life forward? And also, are you encouraging it with others? The fourth one is productivity, and I also like to call it effectiveness, because productivity is often just, people relate that to their work, the work output. But we want to look at life as a whole. You know, we want to be have a life that is not only focused on our careers and our business, but a life that is also focused on having good relationships, having good health, and so on and so forth. So about productivity and effectiveness. Many people are not as productive as they would like to be, again, also because they're not clear enough about what they really want to accomplish. So the question is, what distracts you the most? Is your email inbox a convenient organizing system for other people's agenda? Then ask yourself, when do you turn it on? And there are different situations. People have different positions and may work in customer service, and it always has to be on. But many times we just react so very much to other people's agendas and their interruptions, rather than focusing, giving us ourselves some block time where we say, okay, now I'm going to focus for an hour or two on this particular project, and I'm not going to allow any disruptions or distractions. And also, when it comes to productivity, ask yourself, what can you eliminate, delegate, or automate that will help you to be more effective or productive? Eliminate, delegate, or automate. And my question to you is, do you have a not to-do list? You know, a not to-do list is about as important as a to-do list. And if you think about letting things go, what can you let go in your life that is basically just a distraction, that does not serve your purpose, that does not serve your mission? What is it that you need to let go that's just wasting your time and your energy? And the question is also, do you say yes or no most of the time? The more successful people are, typically the more they say no to whatever doesn't serve their purpose. Or their first answer is usually always no. And then either somebody else or they themselves have to give them a really good reason why they should say yes.
Reinhard, we're running a little low on time, and I want to give people an opportunity to ask you some questions. So I don't know if anybody has any questions they want to throw out.
Okay, I have just one more slide, and then I'm done. So we can go back to questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Great. Yeah, and the last one, the fifth one, is influence. People who have a lot of influence, they teach people how to think. They share their values. They challenge people how to think. Think of great leaders, like they ask, what can you do? Don't ask yourself, what can you do for you, what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So great leaders who have influence, they challenge people, and they are a role model. And ask yourself, who would you like to be a better role model for in your life? And as an exercise tonight or sometime this week, when you have dinner, listen and inspire, focus on that, or ask and encourage. Tell each person 3 things you're grateful for about them, and listen to them when ask them, what are your dreams? What would you like to accomplish? And then encourage and inspire them to do so. And I think that will really increase your influence, whether you have dinner with friends or family or whoever it is. So those are again, the 5 habits that we like to very much coach our clients on. So are there any questions about any of these? And I'll go back to the.
Yeah, maybe you can stop sharing your screen. We can go back to all of the participants.
Yeah, let me see. Here we go. Stop sharing. For some reason. Oh, stop share. Here we go. It's on another screen here. Okay, I got two screens. Here we go. Bingo.
Does anybody have any questions? Didn't have anything come through the chat here, but feel free to unmute and ask a question. D?
Yeah, Reinhard, are you willing and able to share your PowerPoint?
Absolutely, yeah.
That'd be wonderful. If I certainly would like to receive it, and maybe Justin might coordinate between us, because you don't have my email address unless you have it already from the Rotary directory.
Okay, I will send it to Justin or to Sarah. I got Sarah's email, so I can send it to
Wonderful.
Sarah.
Yep,
Yeah.
we'll make sure that that's available. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And I want to let you know how you can reach me as well. Maybe if you have any questions. And my website is Carried on Eagle's Wings. Obviously, that's a a connection to my experience there. So it's CarriedOnEaglesWings. So it's carriedoneagleswings.com. And there you will find my also my email address.
So, and then maybe, so talk about your services real quick. So there's individual coaching, and then also, is there team coaching as well?
There's group coaching as well. And I'm actually starting a group coaching online, a Zoom, on February the 1st, every Monday morning at 6 o'clock. So that will be announced later, and that will be on my website. But I also offer group coaching to groups, to organizations, to businesses as well.
Okay.
And mostly it will be on Zoom for the time being. And it will be catered to the individual situation. We'll put a plan together for whatever the organization desires.
Okay. Anybody else have questions? Sarah, I don't see any coming through here. So, Sarah, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. One more thing. You can get the book in case you're interested in the book. Letting Go Saved My Life. It's available on my website, but it's also available on Amazon as an ebook also, and as an audiobook. And if somebody is still old-fashioned, I just got CDs for it as well. So it's been narrated and is available on CDs as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Very, very well done. We'll make sure that the slide deck is shared, and then also I see Cheryl, you sent out his website, but we'll also have that in our wrap up email by the end of the week.
And one more thing, maybe if you don't mind, I offer a free coaching call to every Rotary member. So
Okay.
just connect with me, and I offer a free coaching call, a 1-hour call, just so you can experience that a little bit more for yourself and see whether that's something that may be of value to you or somebody that you know.
Okay, in that wrap up, then we'll also put your full contact information too as well. Okay.
Thank you.
If there's no other announcements or no other questions, I do want to say to everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We will not be getting together next Monday, December 21st or the 28th. We'll be back together as a group on Monday, January 4th, where Tom Kukish will have a presentation and a speaker for us. So folks, thank you so much for being on today. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and everybody take care of themselves. Have a good rest of the week.
Bye all.